Gizo. That's like Giz. Did I say your name correctly?
Giselle.
Giselle. Okay. So my name is Trin. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of British Columbia, and I'm interested in studying the blockchain application in sustainability space. And via some connection, then I'm luckily getting connected to Austin, who has and James. Oh, Austin, there he is.
Hey.
So I got incredible support, and I had a chance to attend this meeting as part of my PhD research to understand my research topic. And I have um, absorbed incredible positive energy from all of the meetings so far.
Wonderful. Good. Well, thanks for being here. Appreciate you being around. Awesome. Well, I know we're gonna have a smaller crew today, at least from the R&D RF side, as people are traveling or starting their travels, some going to Denver for the ETH Denver, which we'll talk about. But just as a reminder, all of these are recorded and then we post them, and people do review these to see what's going on. So if nothing else, it's a good opportunity for even our internal team to have a look across the network at what's moving. Brandon, do you want to introduce yourself as well, just to make sure everyone knows who you are? Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Brandon. My Telegram is Brawlafont, and my Twitter is EcoWealth. I'm an investor and always been about regeneration. Really fortunate to find Regen Network and contribute to the network and networking.
Yeah, and Brandon's been a really important part of our tokenomics working group and bringing a lot of good analysis and wisdom to all of our work on that side. So thank you for your continued support, Brandon. Appreciate it. Awesome. All right, well, let's get moving, and we'll keep this as tight as we can today. So this is our monthly community call. It is February already. March is coming in hot. We're about to head toward Denver, which we'll talk about. So let's take a look across what we're doing here. I'm going to go ahead and hopefully, for some reason, the share function these days in Zoom drives me bonkers, but we're going to go with it. Okay. So I will try to be as much in order as I can. So why don't we getting into events? So for those who happen to be going to Denver or even to our team understanding what we're doing, we're gonna have a nice representation of Regen Foundation and Regen Network Development PBC at ETH Denver. I think as I mentioned before, we're gonna actually have a booth this year as a co-sponsor. We're the carbon offsetting sponsor. They gave us a really nice corner booth right near the concessions. In that booth, I'll show you some of the thematic work that we're going to have there. But even before the event starts, the main event, I believe Austin and Will and Gregory will be at the Ethereum localism event. I
Just
don't have
those two.
Okay.
Just Gregory and Will. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
it starts tomorrow, so they're flying today.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I don't have a sense of exactly the agenda going on there, but you can tell by the title. At least it sounds like an application of Ethereum in a more bioregional or local context. And then we'll all be convening February 26th through about the 3rd. Some of this group, about 6 of us, including James from the Eco Token Squad and Alex, where we'll be on the floor all day, and then we're going to be on the evening of the 28th. We're going to do an event with Block Science at the MetaGov House and talk about ethical capital formation. Continue to have a thematic community discussion with big brains around how we continue to understand the utility, value, and design of Regen Token to serve ecological regeneration. We'll have a meetup in our booth with Cello, and just to be clear, we're inviting all of our other blockchain communities who are in the regenerative finance space to join us as we continue to our longtime goal of eliminating the barriers between Regen's assets and our communities of practice, and being able to bring these ecological assets all over Web3. So we're creating space for other communities to share about their work and continue to build relationships. We're also going to be whitelisting a whitelist launch of Angry Bears, which will be, whoops, pardon me. Let me get back. Which will be pretty fun. This is a project of Christian who designed an NFT collection where Angry Bears purchase help protect 10 square meters of land for 30 years. And so we're going to be launching that or at least the whitelist of that at ETH Denver. And then just on other events coming, Funding the Commons. I think I'm going to go. Austin, are you also attending? I didn't.
TBD. I'm not sure. Usually Funding the Commons has only one regen presenter, but we're a network of lots of different people doing things. So
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, so I think I'll be there. And then we've got then we move into April where we have actually the R&D and Regen Foundation retreat and things like that. So those are what's coming in. So at ETH Denver, here's the first look at the Angry Bears. If you can't read that, it says the bears and their wild neighbors have been driven from their houses. They're pissed and they're fighting back. Join the Angry Bears community and take real action to permanently protect wildlife habitat around the world. And so this is, again, a very Web3 centric version of linking ecological habitat protection to the NFT culture. So it will give we'll have 250 of these cards total for whitelisting. And it's part of a spin game that we're going to have in the booth where people can tap a little spin wheel and then they'll either get a shirt or a credit or to retire, or an Angry Bear NFT card where they can whitelist. So these are some of the things we're doing on the floor. And this is our 8x8 backdrop. So similarly, again, as people come up to the booth, we're trying to communicate two things. There's ready-made digitized ecological assets for sale or consumption across Web3. And then we are, with the upgrade to our software upgrade to the blockchain, should have EVM OS integrated, which means that we can communicate and play in the Ethereum community. So that's going to be a brand new day for us and our ability to continue to increase interaction and interoperability between a huge community of builders in the Ethereum community and Regen Ledger. So this is very exciting. So will ultimately guide people in how to engage and start building on Regen from the EVM side of things. Great. Austin, you want to chat about Regen Foundation? What's going on in Q1?
Yeah, just 2 slides, so not a ton. We've been pretty active with the organizers of the ETH Localism conference, talking about how Regen has been developing local first or bioregionally oriented DAO governance for a long time, and there's a lot of interest in the sort of like the adjacency in the ETH localism world with this idea of like mutualism, which is similar to the commons. And so I know Will is planning to participate in a workshop and a session on interspecies mutualism with Web3, which is something that's a language Regen Network speaks. Yeah, continuing to have an interesting interaction with supporting Regen Ledger and Regen Network more broadly, interfacing with the UN and the Global Challenges Action Day, as it's called, GLOCHA for short. We're working with R&D PBC and also some friends over at BioFi to support the development of new biocultural units in Salmon Nation. So that's Cascadia, Northern California to British Columbia, and also developing an idea for an ecological institution on Vancouver Island with an indigenous nation and a number of activists there. And we'll continue doing these DAO governance pilots in different parts of the world using smart contracts and DAO. So this year we have, this quarter at least, we have a bunch of folks who we're working with to discuss doing sort of like small pilots to implement proof of concept around community governance, around the definition and monitoring and verification of ecological assets. And then you can go forward. Yeah, so with the incoming implementation of CosmWasm, a whole set of tooling and smart contracting is possible on Regen Ledger, and we're really excited about that. We've been developing and sort of building out the idea for how to integrate that into the larger idea of a community-owned and governed ledger for well over a year now, but now it's really exciting that it's going to be happening directly on Regen Ledger. So I foresee a kind of like bloom of lots of different Regen native projects playing with the new functionality that this ledger upgrade brings, and I'm super stoked about that. And so is the rest of the foundation. So we have like a micro grant program, something like 2K, it can be more or less, for groups that are interested in trying out using DAO governance and blockchain to support community participation, either in the verification process or in the credit design process. It's effectively a continuation of the same idea of the endowment, but we're trying to get a bit more specific about what that governance really looks like at the grassroots level. So contact us if you're interested or have referrals. It's an exciting time. So see you all in Denver and maybe at Earth Commons too.
Yay. Thank you, Austin. Really grateful for the foundation's work. Giancarlo, are you there? Did you, I don't know if you developed a slide, but if not, I'd actually love for you to pick up maybe around the community-led software upgrade to Regen Ledger. Is that something you can do now?
Yeah, sure. So to give the latest update on the upgrade for the ledger is we already have a testnet running where we are testing like regions, like the new features and like making sure everything works. Cosmo Wasm has been implemented and is currently being tested. So that is gonna be hopefully on the testnet and definitely really soon. And the EVM module from FMOS is being actively worked. So that's the status for all of them. It's highly probable that by December, people will be able to play at least in our DevNet or DevNet testnet, both Cosmo Wasm and EVM, hopefully.
So, Giancarlo, can you explain a little bit more as we're thinking about ETH Denver, what with the successful upgrade to 0.47, and again, this is a software upgrade,
Yes.
community-led software upgrade for people not familiar. That's one of the superpowers and probably least understood aspects of Regen Ledger, and the idea that all of the token holders are the owners and stewards of this publicly governed ecological software stack. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the EVMOS application opens up opportunities to connect in with the Ethereum community?
Okay, essentially, so what EVM does in this case is like it enables essentially EVM Solidity smart contracts. So it essentially works the same as you will write a contract the same way you probably will write it on the Ethereum ecosystem. And right now this is not true yet, but in Cosmos we have this technology we call IBC. Essentially there's this release that I hope is gonna be like in 2-3 months that is called IBC Eureka. That essentially would enable a lot of cross compatibility between and interpolation between Ethereum and Cosmos chains. This doesn't just apply to like the EVM Solidity we mentioned, but like Cosmos modules, Cosmo Wasm contracts, and these EVM contracts will be able to interact very seamlessly with Ethereum. So people who are more used to the Ethereum ecosystem can build like an EVM smart contract. Is fully compatible with the Solidity smart contract is fully compatible with an Ethereum one. So you can deploy them on both sides without any changes. And in the near future, they will be able to communicate with one another if in a very seamless way. For anybody who hasn't used ABC, feels almost like just calling a transaction is very straightforward.
Great. And so for those, even in plain talk, what this is going to do is give all of our land stewards on the ground an additional avenue for demand for their ecological assets. So again, linking the biosphere and the technosphere in an elegant way where the Ethereum community, which is massive, both the builders and entrepreneurs, the ability to access easily and create new ways of supporting ecological regeneration on the ground. So I'm really looking forward to that, not getting lost in the technology of it all, that Giancarlo and his team get lost in the technology, but it really does create some new exciting surface area for entrepreneurs to figure out how to build businesses around planetary scale regeneration. So
Yeah.
stay tuned.
And for people that are looking at it from a business perspective, it's much, much easier to find a Solidity developer than a Rosco Wasm developer.
Yeah. Yep. It means more builders, more entrepreneurs. So really grateful for the whole validator community and Giancarlo's leadership here. So thanks again, Giancarlo. Great. EBL, just Eco Credit Builder Lab. Just had a really, it sounds like a really nice call right before this, around this. Becca, do you want to share a little bit more? Is this your slide, I assume?
Yeah, so Austin and I and Shayla, I'm not sure if she's on here as well. We've been working together on really like making the experience of joining a lot smoother. And so Shayla's upgraded our registration kind of process using Luma. It's just a really nice way to capture emails over time and have people like opt into different ones. Just using that platform is great. And today we just had an awesome session on agroforestry and really bringing to bear the collective intelligence and efforts of all the folks that are working in that space is awesome. And there's just a lot of hunger, I think, for collaboration, for information sharing, for experience. And it was great to be able to convene that. And the next one in March, we're going to have a verifier that we've been in communication with related to like ecometric projects that are coming up. And they're going to present and kind of do like Q&A and really like interact with the people on the other side of that process. Verification is such a big nut to crack at the meta level and at the this project level. So that'll be great. And then we actually had in this call, this past one, a lot of interest to have a like finance investor sort of call where those folks can present. There were a couple of people attending and wanting to connect projects on the ground with different like financial opportunities. So I think that will just be awesome to continue to explore. I'm grateful for the energy and work. It's just always really moving to see how many people are really grappling with the hard work of building out these projects on the ground. Austin, anything to add?
Gratitude to both you and Giselle for showing up and like offering really thoughtful insight. I would just generally offer that the level of conversation, the sophistication of the conversation that we just had at the EBL was off the charts. I mean, people who have been building and working really meticulously on distributed MRV solutions for agroforestry. I mean, it's complex and interesting, and just I was blown away by how just like how invested and thoughtful people were. So I hope we keep that momentum. I see it moving forward into the new year. So yeah, a lot of gratitude, a lot of momentum is awesome.
Amazing. Thanks, you two. Great. Redesign of Hilo. Becca, I believe this is in your.
Yeah, Tika recommended to share this on the community call because we've been using Hilo, I feel like in a light touch way for a few years now, but we were very involved in its original development. And so they're doing a big redesign and are putting out some different like blogs and specs and information about what the whole new design is going to look like. And from what I can tell, it's there are just a lot of changes. So I'm going to be participating in an early adopter webinar and then reporting back on what the learnings are. We're, I think keeping our eyes wide open around what is best to serve the folks that we're working with, and that may or may not be Hilo, but still, eager to support them in their work with. They are really keen to continue to build out a platform for bioregional communities to connect and support each other. So yeah, I'll report back.
Great.
This is an update. The last community call, Sam had shared kind of a high level arc of what we're building out for really like creating this, not just streamlining, but really like working towards more automation of processes to review projects and really looking towards a degree of efficiency that we just don't see, efficiency and transparency that we just don't see across the space. And so we wanted to update everyone that we've been working really hard on creating a registry agent checklist that Sam had referred to in the last call. And the registry agent is this really pivotal role that we've been playing, but that others can play as well, not just Regen. They evaluate projects that are wanting to issue credits. And that evaluation, you're kind of thinking, okay, well, like, what are they evaluating for? And how does that sit next to verification? You know, there's a lot moving there around kind of evaluation and auditing. But this is an assessment of all of the project documents that they're submitting and checking for completeness. And so if you move to the next slide, I wanted to show what just an example looks like. So it might seem kind of dry and two-dimensional, but there's a lot going on here. These checklists that we're creating are digesting all of the requirements in a really succinct way from the program guide and digesting all of the requirements from the protocol, so methodology or credit class. What this does is it creates so much clarity for everyone involved in the review process, and it makes it to where we can really work towards what Sam was referring to before, which if you go to the next slide, where we're looking at this really like a whole infrastructure around verifying ecological claims that's based in clear language and transparent tracking and machine readability. So if we can get the language and the kind of the processing right in this manual way now, then all of that can be kind of mapped onto more of a machine learning approach. So it feels really, it's been pretty tedious and detailed, but I think all of a sudden it just feels like there's a lot of clarity and a lot that we can put towards a lot of the framework working group.
Lovely. Very excited about this development. Thank you, registry team. Great. I'm going to move into governance. For those, again, for those you not familiar or somewhat familiar, Regen token is the fuel for our entire system to work, to function, to support transactions, to secure the network, and hopefully soon to be more tied directly to ecological regeneration, proof of that. So there is a discussion that has been spurred by the community around a fixed cap and dynamic supply. I don't have a ton more detail to add to this other than this is on the common forum if people care about token economics and want to know why this is a big deal. If somebody here has reflections on just like why they're excited or why they're worried or why they're, or just other observations about this discussion, I would certainly welcome that. Brandon, including you or Austin or anyone who's a little closer to thinking about these issues, but it's a significant suggestion around how we redesign the tokenomics for Regen token and what it serves that should be contemplated seriously by the community before this reaches a vote, right? Which would fundamentally shift how Regen token shows up in the world. So any reflections from Brandon, from you or Austin or others that might have feel strongly one way or the other?
I can just go ahead. Like in essence, it can build a kind of equilibrium between the burning and the creation of tokens that is desirable from an investment perspective for those who are seeking to buy in on Regen, and it allows a more tunable system, basically one that we can have better control over the issuance through controlling the issuance and the retirement or like the burning of tokens. It creates patterns by which we can peg the Regen token's value to be more closely related to like the issuance or sale of eco credits and directly make like a peg between a digital currency and the exchange or circulation of credits or whatever it might be, taboos, etc., that are attestations around human environmental health. So it's a pretty, there, just to say, like, there's maybe the meme coin wave is crashed a little bit and it's calming down, or I don't know, I'm not an expert on that, but there's just been a huge amount of claims around people building like regen coins, digital currencies that are backed by regeneration, but there's very little in terms of the demonstration around how in the token economic way those two things are correlated, and a fixed cap is like a really clear way that it makes that more possible to say from an economic perspective the regen digital currency is backed by environmental regeneration and restoration. not an expert on it, but I think there's a pretty nice breakdown about this, and this is a result of a lot of conversations between the Regen and block science folks that I'm sure will surface during the ETH Denver conversation.
Great. Brandon, anything you want to add, or we can keep moving? Also, actually, Howard has a question. Maybe I'll go with Howard next, as he's waiting patiently, and then we can pick up other conversation.
Yeah, I just want to ask a clarifying question. Is the reference to ecosystem carrying capacity in the slide, is that just an analogy to understand the crypto exchanges, or is there a movement afoot to try to tie tokens, eco credits to a carrying capacity metric? Is that two different conversations, and that's here just as an analogy?
Yeah, I think it's here as an analogy. I think that there were like initial, conversations years ago around, oh, like what would a supply that is similar to, for instance, tons of carbon sequester or tons of carbon that we need to sequester look like? But I think right now this is more of an analogy.
Okay.
Thanks,
That's what
Kevin.
I
Good
thought.
question.
Exciting.
Any other reflections before we move on?
Yeah, I'll just say that it's kind of like mining. Theoretically, it's mining regeneration with a fixed cap, and then the minting component. It's like a combination of Ethereum's tokenomics and Bitcoin's. But in the sweet spot, we're getting regeneration as the outcome.
Mhm.
So I'm for the
And-
proposal.
Yeah, and I would say like, in my like skimming of the proposal, what doesn't seem to be really addressed in a concrete way is, right now we're not really tying our token economics to platform usage or like ledger usage. And so if we're going to talk about, essentially pulling levers on burning crypto, like to burning regen token to keep that supply, I guess my provocation of the group is, what are the events that would be supply limiting? Is that, we've thrown around like burning burning regen tokens if we're selling or issuing eco credits, but we also have the data module. And so just thinking about, as we go through, what do we think is going to really start to be the higher transaction message types, like the data module, governance, eco credit, and how do we actually tie our token economics to platform usage? Because we're not really doing that right now. And I would say our goal on the product perspective is really just to increase traction and usage of the ledger. So
Good observation. Thanks, Sam. Anyone else? Great. Well, I would love for anyone who has questions or comments, thoughts, suggestions, please join check it the common and if somebody could put it up here in the chat, if someone could grab the link to this discussion in common while I'm guiding here, that would appreciate that. I should have done that earlier. But anyhow, significant conversation to have, and for those of you who are Regen token holders, please pay close attention. Okay. Regen tokenomics working group. I don't think anyone's here technically from the tokenomics working. Although actually, Brandon, do you want to? Pardon me. Do you want to pick up any of this?
Sure.
Pardon me. I totally spaced that you were here. So go ahead and please describe what's going on here.
Yeah, at the Regen Tokenomics Working Group meets every Tuesday. The Regen Tokenomics website, regentokenomics.org, is an excellent resource for everything Regen. So Max, he creates a awesome website and detailed report for 2024 that just came out, and it's an amazing read. And then there's the Liquidity DAO, which is this special vehicle, a purpose vehicle that's gonna enrich or deepen the liquidity around the Regen token. And there's going to be some presentation next Tuesday, or maybe the following Tuesday. I'm not too sure. In the Regen, we're going to be putting it on Base soon, and hopefully Solana as well. and there's a strategy around that in the Regen Tokenomics website that outlines the strategy for base, where Aerodrome will be like the flywheel mechanism that we'll be entering. It's very exciting. It's been very successful for Klima. I don't think Klima would be doing as well without it. And we just covered the recent forum proposal by Will, which is a really, really interesting read. So I would encourage that read. And then Julio, who also participates every Tuesday with the working group, he's developing a dashboard for connecting fundraisers with on the ground regenerators. So that's also really exciting. So it sounds like development for that is now beginning. So every Tuesday we meet up. Anybody's welcome. I'd encourage showing up to all the Regen Network events. They're all fire. So
like that spirit, Brandon. LFG. Thank you for sharing.
Yep.
Awesome. Upgrade. We talked about this earlier. Thank you, Giancarlo. And our next community call is March 20th. We can keep this one nice and tight today. Thank you for updates across the network. And we'll keep doing this. I am curious, like, and maybe I'd love to spend actually 5 more minutes just discussing suggested upgrades to this event, so that we continue to this to be a valuable exercise. Frankly, I always learn something from our own team because we're an async team and remote. So I get to learn things that people are working on. And so that's, even as somebody who's really in almost every conversation, it's important for me. And obviously this is recorded and shared with the community. And is there some disruption or some new ideas for how we continue to make this particular call unique and valuable relative to the Eco Credit Builder Lab and what its value proposition is, Regenerating News Hour, which we're going to be re-upping on X Spaces. So any just thoughts on like things that you'd like to see more of, or is this like broad overview sufficient, regardless of how many folks are here or not? So I'll stop there and just see if anyone else got thoughts. Thanks, Brandon. You had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just reflecting on the potential for like a marketing working group, perhaps, because with the advent of AIs and what they can do, it seems like I can get a pretty automated system up and running, whereas a little bit overhead for getting a channel that can like concentrate some of the essence of what everybody's doing here into more digestible reels and shorts. So where I don't have to be the person in front, or we don't have to restructure what is already being presented here so elegantly, although I would probably prefer that. But like, turning it sideways into the vertical, so that when people are scrolling, the algorithm will feed them some regeneration with their daily content consumption. Just something I was thinking about.
I would
We can
love
talk about it.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I'm all in favor of that. And I'll pick that conversation up with you as kind of somebody that's mostly responsible for the comms on our side.
Cool.
And then we are going to have a space. Sam's was going to take us through a little bit of the credit card fiat purchase flow, which is, I think, going live as early as next week. So this is a really big deal for the future of making it as easy and enjoyable as possible to purchase ecological assets from Regen's marketplace and our partners marketplaces that are powered by Regen. Sam, do you want to go ahead and start the show?
Yeah, do we want to just tie up the conversation on
Yeah. If
upgrades
other
to
people
follow?
if people have other ideas around community call, all ears.
I think it could be cool to have more often an active socialization of what's happening with some of the token economic stuff.
Yeah.
It is an area of like the range of expertise people who are literate in Regen Network need to have is quite wide.
Yeah.
And I would suggest that some of the token economic stuff is some of the most specific and niche knowledge sets that can be difficult to apprehend or to comprehend for like local project implementation or methodology development. So I think leaning in on socializing to the broader community and also within Regen Network, some of the logic behind what's going on with token things and the Regen ethical capital formation is kind of part of that. I think that's time well spent. Because it's helpful to sense make within our team around that specific discussion, because sometimes it can seem like it's in a different universe or sort of outside of some of the everyday
Yeah.
activities.
100% agreed. That's a great observation.
Um,
Howard?
Yeah, I was going to suggest building on what a difference having the topic of agroforestry made to the energy and attendance of the Eco Credit Builder call. I would say that if we could structure this with half the call on a topic that would be of broad interest, and then half of it be updates. I think the updates are important. I wouldn't want to lose that quality to this regular event, but picking a topic that'll draw people in and be a deep dive in the way that I learned a heck of a lot about the tokenomics from that 5 or 10 minutes of conversation, and I don't know whether that would have drawn me knowing it was featured, but it certainly helps for people to have the expectation they're going to learn something on a topic of interest, and that's important to the whole network, the whole ecosystem.
Yes, I've had a similar thought, Howard. Thank you for plus wanting that in my mind. And I think that's something we can probably activate pretty clearly that actually adds some resolution from Austin's suggestion and your own. So any other reflections on community call? And then we'll do a quick demo and tie it up.
I think maybe just to build on Howard's, and I mean, it's somewhat related, but I think that historically the community call has mostly been updates from R&D and, the foundation and token economics working group. And it's not really a community call in the sense that people within our community can sign up for slots to present or bring topics to the table. And I think that I would love to see more pathways for people to come and present their work or suggest topics. Um, yeah.
So I think, yeah, in this similar theme, I like that too. Yeah, and it feels like there needs to be like proactive organizing probably on my side in order to stimulate that and then be able to have enough time to market it. So like developing in some ways a community call calendar internally that lines up certain discussions and creates open invitations for our community, the network, to participate and showcase their own work, I think would be very valuable. So noted. Yes, Austin.
So yeah, just kind of on that, over time I've come to realize just like how deeply a lot of the moving topics and sort of projects that are being developed in the BioFi community are on Regen. It's incredibly close, the coupling and the sort of lineage of ideas and things like that. And there's a lot of momentum there. And so I think if there's a way that, I'm happy to do that as a rep for the foundation, that we try to build bridges to like visit other community calls of other groups and show up and like have an intention around like it could be really easy like kind of like balkanized or where different orgs have their own calls, and I'm not saying we merge with them, but having an active kind of project of diplomacy or being representative in different calls I think makes a lot of sense, because there's a lot of them that are pretty well attended that are ideologically really close, that are like very interrelated. So kind of being practical around how we're ambassadors or interacting with some of the other community calls, particularly the BioFi one, I think is practically speaking like a sound idea.
Fair. I like that. I think that's right. Awesome. Well, thank you for the suggestions, everyone here. That was helpful. I'm gonna allow Sam. You're good. You should be able to present.
Sweet. So, yeah, I was just going to provide a demo of some functionality we're going to release next week on the Regen app. So right now, the only way to buy credits on our platform is using cryptocurrency, which has been a pretty big limiting factor in people that want to purchase credits, because you have to, set up a wallet, you have to get regen tokens, you have to, go through that process. And then on the payout side, a lot of our project developers that are expecting, non-cryptocurrencies in their bank account, there's a whole process of, how do we exit cryptocurrency to a bank account? How do we make sure that the coins they're receiving are stable and money isn't lost? And so with that, we have been developing a credit card purchase flow that allows users to buy on-chain credits using a credit card. So the goal with this is just to provide more pathways for people that are aiming to purchase credits in smaller amounts, noting that, again, probably bigger purchases are still happening via OTC deals, wire transfers, but for folks that want to purchase credits in smaller amounts, to actually use a credit card to do that. So right now, I'm showing our test app. So if anyone is interested in playing around with testing some of this functionality, you can go to our test application and try this functionality out for yourself. We also, Becca, I don't know if you want to share our guide. We are looking for people to test this and provide feedback. So if anyone's interested in doing that, we would definitely welcome that. So right now I just have I guess I'll start by just showing kind of updates to this storefront that we made. So in our Project Explorer page, we previously didn't have any of these filters that allowed you to select from various credit classes. But now we do provide pathways for people to filter by credit class, as well as filter based off of if credits are for sale, are they available for sale in credit card or crypto? And then, let's see. So then going to just a demo of how the flow works. So this is just a dummy page that we made where credits are available for sale. So I could go ahead and buy credits, and now we have this option to either buy with cryptocurrency, which if I log in, so I could either buy with crypto, so we can see the allowed denoms that we could purchase with. So right now on mainnet, we have Regen, Evmos, and then USDC available for purchase. But then I can also buy with credit card. So if I wanted to buy with credit card, I can go through. You can put in, name, general details. And then if you want to test this, you can always look up just fake credit card numbers that people like Stripe provide that allows you to test this functionality. And let's see. So I can put this in. Wait, this will. Oops. I purchased using the wrong email. This. So then I can purchase now. Oh, all right. So I already have, the reason that it's throwing an error is I already have many test accounts that I've been set up with to actually purchase these credits. But then when you purchase credits, you will get a retirement certificate, and then we do, sorry, I didn't do this before, but you can actually see your orders, which is another page that we just added. So you can see the orders for credits that you've either bought with credit card or with cryptocurrency. So starting to shift towards more of a more sophisticated kind of buy experience on the marketplace. So with this, you can see the retirement transaction info. If I purchase with credit card, it would show the credit card I use, and then you can actually view the retirement certificate. So this functionality is available both with crypto or a blockchain account as well as email. So people don't necessarily need to set up a Regen Ledger account to purchase these credits with a credit card. So we're trying to just make it easier for people attending events, people that don't necessarily want to set up a blockchain wallet, manage keys, things like that, to actually engage with this functionality and purchase credits. So yeah, I'll pause there and see if there's any questions on any of this.
So on the crypto side, when you the assets are on Regen Ledger for the crypto side?
In terms of the credits or the cryptocurrencies?
The cryptocurrencies that purchase the credits.
They're
on Regen
on
Ledger.
Regen. So we're just leveraging the Cosmos IBC bank module. So essentially you can just bridge over, whatever token you want to spend. And then, the one thing about our marketplace is you do have to go through a governance proposal to add different tokens to the approved list of denoms that the marketplace would accept. So right now we just have those three. But for instance, if you wanted to use Osmosis, if you wanted to use a different asset, you could always go through a governance proposal to add that. You would just send it to your Regen account through your Kepler wallet. So, for instance, if I was in Kepler, I could always send, like you can see here, all of the different tokens that I have on the Regen within my Regen wallet. So I have some USDC, I have some Regen. If you wanted to bridge over Evmos, you could always do that. So.
And the credit card purchase is a retirement?
Yeah, so when you purchase with credit card, those credits will automatically be retired.
And with eco tokens, is there any like, because eco token has a thing where you can essentially buy with all kinds of assets. I wonder if that can get merged a little bit within.
Yeah, so we're
here.
actually working with them on applying to the Solana Foundation on a grant to essentially, integrate their multi-asset functionality directly in our marketplace. So in the future, we have some mock-ups on this, but I wonder if I have this in Figment somewhere. But essentially, when you connect your wallet, it will just show the. Let's see if we have it. Yeah, so for what this would look like for integrating with someone like EcoToken or Solana is essentially, just when you connect your wallet, you can choose either using a Kepler wallet, Solana browser extension to, and so in the future we could, with support from the community, because I don't think R&D can do all of this, but essentially connect this to the Ethereum space, to other blockchain ecosystems so that they can use our marketplace to purchase credits.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, one more question, if you don't mind. I saw on the Discord there's an issue with Regen Osmosis. Did that get resolved by chance?
Yeah, it was resolved earlier today. So pardon me. We identified the issue. I think we should. Hopefully, it'll not pop up again like that anytime soon, at least for that long. So it's just for those not aware, like creating a relayer in between Regen Ledger and Osmosis, which is the leading DEX in the Cosmos ecosystem, was not functioning correctly. So there was packets or information getting stuck. So anyhow, that's done. That's fixed.
Thanks for the update.
Awesome. Any other questions? Thanks for this one. Just almost at the top of the hour, and apologies for Sam. I know I had asked you to do that, and I just totally spaced on where we were at. So Any other questions or comments? If not, let's go keep regenerating. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate all your work. Let's keep charging ahead. Happy February.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Bye.